Well, this is going to be part one of a mini-series, the HTML5 Insert Panel in Dreamweaver. And we're going to talk about sections, articles, asides, and how Dreamweaver works with this insert panel. I really must say that the people at Macromedia developed Dreamweaver, taking for granted that people that use Dreamweaver can hand code HTML, CSS, maybe some JavaScript, and if people are going to use PHP, they have an understanding of that language also. Dreamweaver was never developed to be a drag and drop tool. So here we go in Adobe's attempt to make things, a tad easier for, I guess, everybody. So let's get started. I have a new document. It's called Jimmy's Hot Dogs. And I'm going to start right out in the body tag and just put in a section tag. And here's what happens. The insert panel. And we could do a class. We could do an ID. I'm going to leave that alone until the next segment. But for now, if I just click OK, there you go. It drops in. It even gives you instructions that you can put stuff here. And if I go into design mode, here's a little message that lets me know I can put stuff here. Well, good and fine. So now I'm going to get rid of their note to me. And in the section, I'm going to put in a header tag. I just click OK, and I'm going to, maybe I'll keep there. No, I'll get rid of it. I'm just going to call this Jimmy's Hot Dogs. Okay, fine. So I've got Jimmy's Hot Dogs in there. Maybe I'll go into design mode. I can see it's Jimmy's Hot Dogs. And of course, in the header, that would be a prime place to put an H1 tag. And then in my header, I might throw an image in there, maybe a paragraph. Let's put a paragraph of stuff in there. Notice they even have a handy dandy paragraph tag, and I might just type something in there. This is all about Jimmy's Hot Dogs. Okay, so I've got the header in there. I'm done with the header. And then outside of the header, maybe I come in and I drop in the navigation tag. I'm going to bypass class and ID. And here I'm just going to type in links. Use your imagination there. It's just, this is where you put your links in. I'm done with my nav bar. I'm going to go ahead and click paragraph tag. And this would be the body, so to speak, of my document, of my section. So I throw all my text in there, paragraphs, more paragraphs. I'm done with telling people what I wanted to tell them. And then I would throw in a footer. And of course, in the footer, according to the specs of HTML5, they want to have maybe some copyright stuff, the name of Jimmy, maybe some links going somewhere, and there you go. In my section, I have a header. I have some stuff in the header. Then I have a place for my major nav for the entire body of my document. In this section, I'm going to have a footer concluding everything in that section. And then maybe I want to use multiple sections. Sections are, they say, like chapters. So maybe I'm just going to copy this code and put in another section. I don't think I would want another major nav in that section. And maybe I'll copy this section and put in another section. So there you go. I mean, now we have our sections in there. But between sections now again, Macromedia, they figure you already know how to write CSS and HTML. So when we get to the CSS portion of this, you would treat section just as you would div. And in the next segment, we're going to assign classes to sections and classes to headers, classes to navs, which the insert panel does help you with, but we'll get to that bridge when we see it coming. We've got these sections up here. Tell you what, in this section right here, better yet, in the middle section, under this section's header, I'm going to throw in an article. And an article should be able to, oh, that's an aside. Let's undo that. An article should be able to stand alone all by itself. You should be able to publish an article all by itself, independent of whatever is around it. And in that article, if that's a stand-alone story, a document, whatever, I'm going to put a section in the article. Makes sense, right? You've got a article that can stand by itself. So in the article, it might be a story all by itself. So I'm going to put a section in there, a header in that section. I'm going to leave out the nav. That would be your option. Of course, nav, you might have a couple of navs on the page. It's your decision. Are you going to put a major nav within your article? And let's go a step further down here in part 3. Down here in our final section, let's go ahead and maybe under the header, let's just drop in an aside. Sure, here we go, an aside. And an aside, we'll make that, we'll call this Bob's Fish Market. An aside has kind of sort of nothing to do with our existing content on the page. And when I say kind of sort of, no relationship to, well, maybe Jimmy only does beef hot dogs. Maybe this aside is about who invented hot dogs, who decided to make the first fish hot dog or the first cockroach hot dog. Okay? It's an aside. It's kind of woo-woo. Different. But you can see all we have here is it's just about breaking up our page so it makes sense to the machines that read them. Google, mobile devices, so they know about the section, the header, the content, the footer. We close that off. We move along. They see an article. They know that the article is kind of sorted, truly related to the sections in this page. And then we come down here and we plug in an aside, which has totally nothing sort of kind of to do with this page. In the next segment, we will continue with styling this with CSS.